What's up guys, BrunsNick's back, and I see this question all the time, especially on Reddit. Can I get a speed rev check? What's my revs? What's my ball speed? I need a speed check, I need a rev check. I'm here to help you out. I'm gonna show you step by step how you can figure out your ball speed and your rev rate with using only your smartphone. But before we get to all that, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Now, let's calculate your revs and your ball speed. All right, so you want to know what your rev rate is, you want to know what your ball speed is. This is important for picking out bowling balls, and especially when you ask questions about, hey, what ball should I get, BrunsNick? What ball do you recommend that I throw? Well, there's some questions I'm going to ask you. How hard do you throw it? What's your rev rate? So first, we need to figure out what your PAP is. So I've already found mine, and I've placed a piece of tape on that spot. So you can do that by either checking it with tape, but you got to get this ball started on that spot. So you always verify that after you mark it. If you need to move it around a little bit, you can do that. So let's throw a shot. What's only important is the spot off your hand. So right at the point of release, that's your PAP. Now the ball's gonna flare, so it's gonna come off of that spot. Now I often ask, oh hey, how should I measure my PAP? Should I use a plastic ball? Should I use a urethane ball? I mean, typically a lower flaring ball is fine, but if you're using a high-speed camera with your phone, you don't need to have that. How should you set up your camera for this? You know, not everybody has a tripod, not everybody has fancy equipment. Most people have an iPhone. Well, I like to use the shoe method. It works fine. What you want to do is I set it up horizontally so that I can get the whole lane in question there. You can go vertically, whatever, as long as you get the point of the foul line and you get all your rotation. So using a shoe, very easy. Just set up your shoe, the shoe tripod by BrunsNick. So the next thing we'll need to do is put a piece of tape from the PAP over the fingers. This will give us a line we can look at on video and make it very easy to decipher the rotation of the ball. So let's do that. So you can use either masking tape, or if you have white tape in your bag, you can make it into a line. All you need is something that is gonna stand out from the ball. So you'll wanna use a dark ball, that way the white tape will be able to show up easier on camera. So we're just gonna take the tape, we're gonna cut it in half, long ways. Like I said, it doesn't have to be pretty. We just need to get that reference line on the ball. So from the PAP to the top of the fingers, somewhere, it doesn't really matter. You have your reference line going from your PAP to there. Now we're gonna record the next shot in high speed. Now I'm gonna film on my iPhone in 120 frames per second. You're gonna have to pay attention to your frame rate in this example. All frame rates will work, but the higher frame rate you can use, the easier you'll be able to count your rotations and more accurate the higher you go. So I recommend if your phone has 240 frames, use that. 120 frames will work just as well. This is gonna get you a roundabout number for your RPMs. So in this example, I'm gonna use 120 frame rate, and we're gonna throw a shot and calculate the RPMs. We're looking at the time on our iPhone and the edit feature here. So we need to look at 2 points here. The point from where I released the ball, right there. Now my PAP is pointed at 9 o'clock on a clock, okay? And the time is 18:05. So we need to do one revolution of the ball to see how long it takes in time for one rotation, so that it's exactly at 9 o'clock. So there's close, 18:22. 1821 just a little bit before, 1822 is after. So it's roughly 0.165. So 0.165 time-wise, seconds, to do one full revolution. So now we gotta go and do some calculations. So we're gonna take 60 divided by 0.165. And that's gonna give us our rev rate there, 363 RPMs. Off my hand. So that's how we calculate rev rate. So let's do one more example. I'm going to lower the rev rate, and I'm going to film at 240 frames per second. So this is going to give us the most detail frame by frame and give us the most accurate rev rate you can off your hand. So let's do that. All right, so this is 240 frames per second, and I'm going to drop the rev rate a little bit and see. All right, so we need to look again. The point of time where it's off my hand at 9 o'clock, 1712. So 17.12, full rotation is done at 1729 is close. 30 is too much, so we're going to cut that in half. So it's going to be 0.175. So now we're going to come back over to calculator. 60 divided by 0.175. 342 RPMs. So that's going to get your idea of how you throw with that. So the next important spec is ball speed. And there's a lot of confusion when it comes to ball speed. When people ask me questions, they say, hey, Nick, I have a low ball speed. I'm only 12 miles per hour. But that is on the monitor. So the monitors are going to give you the mile per hour of your ball at the pin. So the ball's already slowed down. Another thing that people look and maybe get wrong is they calculate the total time it takes from the ball to get off your hand all the way to the pins, and they calculate the speed based off the entire distance. That's okay if you want to know your average ball speed. Nothing wrong with that, but what I'm more concerned about is your launch speed. The ball speed that's off your hands, that's the most important thing. So we're going to look at two different things, and I'm going to show you the calculation to figure out your launch speed, which is, I think, the most important thing. So we're going to use a reference of the third arrow. The third arrow is exactly 15 feet from the foul line to the third arrow. So we're going to throw two different shots. We're only going to use 120 frames per second on high speed here. This is less critical to go high speed, but it'll make it easier for you to get the calculation correct. So let's throw two different shots, two different speeds, and we'll show you the calculations along the way. All right, first scenario, I'm going to throw my normal speed somewhere around the third arrow, just so we can get an idea of what my launch speed is in the first 15 foot. All right, so we're going to look back at the iPhone. We're going to find the calculation here. We're going to find the time it takes to get off the hand and to the third arrow. So we're going to note the time right there. You can kind of see the shadow, 32:67. We're going to take the time it takes to get all the way to the third arrow. So 0.55 seconds it takes to get from that point to that point. So 0.55 seconds. So we're going to go in the calculator. And so we're going to figure out the 15 feet of travel and the time it took to travel that. So 0.55. So now we got 27.27 feet per second. So we need to take it a step further to go into this calculation. How many seconds are in an hour? There's 3,600 seconds in an hour. So we multiply that feet per second, and we multiply that 3,600 seconds per hour. And that's going to give us the number 98,181. And we're going to divide that number by the amount of feet in a mile, because we're trying to calculate miles per hour. So we're going to calculate 5,280, because there's 5,280 feet in a mile, and that'll give us our launch speed of 18.59 miles per hour. Pretty simple, right? In this last scenario, I'm going to throw it hard and high, right at the third arrow, as hard as I can. We're going to see how hard I can actually throw it off my hand, and we're going to get the calculation. So just to see that the calculation works and it's not a fluke, let's throw one hard right at it. Yes. I'm just going to start bowling like that from now on. We're going to get 2 points here. So the point from 29.19 off my hand there. You can see the shadow over the foul line. And to the point of the third arrow. Look at me get it. Like I'm on my toes there. I'm in the air. 29.19, and we are at the third arrow. We're going to call it right there. So 29.64. So that's 0.45 seconds. Let's do the calculation. All right, so 15 divided by 0.45 equals 33.33 feet per second. Okay, so we're going to multiply that by 3,600 seconds in an hour. That's going to give us 120,000 divided by 5,280 feet in a mile. That gives us 22.72 miles per hour. So at my ripe old age of 43, 22.72 miles per hour is my top out there. So that's all today for how to calculate your rev rate and your ball launch speed. I think those are the two critical numbers you need to know when you're talking about, hey, what ball should I get? This is how I throw it. It's good to have that information handy. Ball speed, rev rate. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it, you know, with your tilt, axis rotation. Primarily, I'm most concerned with your ball speed off your hand and your rev rate off your hand. So if you have any questions, comments, please put them down below. If this video helped you in any way, please subscribe. Helps me out a lot. Talk to you guys soon. See you in another video.